Hey, glory carriers, what is up? I want to come on and talk to you about a topic that I think might be a little sensitive. It's the topic of envy. So last week, I got invited to speak at a young adults Bible study, and when I was asking the Lord, like, what do you want me to say to these young people? What is the message for this group of people? He said offenses, and I was like, okay, wow. That's gonna be pungent. This is my first time, in this particular environment, but okay. And so he began to give me the outline, because God deals with me very, very differently. But he began to give me the outline for what he wanted me to kind of go into, the scripture references and things I was able to do on my own. So as I'm thinking about, okay, God, we're coming back into this glory carrier space. What do you want me to talk about? And here we are. Envy. So the first thing I want to say about envy is when you're dealing with an envious person, usually there is silent competition, right? They are competing without verbally saying that, they are competing. So it's going to look something like it's going to look similar to competitors in a race or sports or whatever, other kind of competitions there are out there. It's going to look similar to that, but a lot of times it's going to be in secret. So when you think about competition, think about someone knowing they have a competitor, right? Knowing that they probably did the background on how fast this person is. If it's let's just say track, how fast this person is, what's the time to beat. You basically have some kind of insight as to who you are competing against. But with envy, because it's a heart condition, it's something that's happening internally. The biggest thing that we're going to see with this particular thing is that it does not want to be confronted. Envy looks like, okay, God received your offering, but he did not receive mine. Not only am I jealous, we'll talk about jealous maybe if the Lord gives that to me to talk about, but jealousy is really having a vexation in your heart for someone, regardless. You might be jealous of how they look. You might be jealous of what they wear. You might be jealous, whatever. But with envy really is about the green-eyed monster, the monster of I cannot get enough. And so a lot of times we're going to see the manifestation of this green-eyed monster when it comes to people who are not fulfilled. And so they want what other people have. So if someone purchases someone, let's just say, a watch for their birthday, you're going to see someone in that space that knows about that purchase is going to be like, you know what, I'm going to get her a watch. As a matter of fact, what kind of watch is that? I'm going to get her a better watch than that. I'm going to spend more money. And so it wasn't about the gift that they gave to the person that already has a watch. It's about what it does to make them feel better than. It makes them, it's almost like there's this fulfillment that happens by silently beating out the other person. Now, here's the thing. They're not thinking about the person they got the gift for, right? They're not thinking like, wow, they already got that kind of watch. They're not thinking that at all. What they're thinking is, I want to do something for this person, but I want to do it in the same idea. I want to do it based on what I've seen happen. Here's the thing. There's one thing where someone may inspire you, right? Or someone may get your creative juices going, or someone may plant something in your heart to do for someone else. But it's something totally different when you have no creative space in what you're getting ready to do, whether it's words of affirmation, whether it's a gift being given, whether it's even how you deal with people. Because remember, this envy is not just about stuff. You can be so envious of someone that you take on their personality. And so we call it imposter. It's really about envy and lack of identity. I am envious of what this person has. And again, hear me, glory carriers. You got to check the heart. You gotta check. You can see someone and say, you know what? I like how sweet he is. And so I want to model myself after that and become sweet. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about when something is unfulfilled in us. And the only thing that we have is the creativity of someone else. And because of that, we begin to duplicate that, whatever it looks like. Again, that could be gift giving, that could be in our personality, that could be in changes, that could be in a lot of things. But in this particular sense, how we're going to know the difference between whether or not we are envying versus being inspired is where our heart is in that. What's the first thought when you saw the act happen or when you saw that person? Was it, I can do that too? What was the first thing that came up in you when you begin to observe whatever you're observing? And so I really believe that this is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg as we go into envy and what that looks like and how envy can definitely lead to harmful acts like slander, the extreme act of taking a life. Envy and jealousy are behind those types of things. And so again, I'm not talking about inspiration. Hear me. I am talking about that green-eyed devil that cannot get enough and has to have what someone else has, whether it's personality, whether it's a husband, whether it's a car or a house. You find that this individual, no matter what it is, they want it. They have to have it. And so I don't want to get ahead of myself because I want to really do this series, but you're going to find that lust is somewhere looming in the background because lust is unquenchable. It can get something and it needs it some more. Even when you talk about gluttony, there's lust somewhere in the midst of that because that overeating is that lack of fulfillment, not being able to reach this place of, I want to use this word, but I want to use it in a clean sense, not being able to be satisfied. Or some people say we're not really reaching that place of climax. A climatical thing is that you become so satisfied where it's like, okay, enough. But when someone is dealing with gluttony, that enough threshold may not happen until they have overeaten and they're physically throwing up. And so, of course, we know we have bulimia, we have all other types of eating disorders. But when you think about this in its purest form, there is something that's still not satisfied after you get what you need. After your body receives the nourishment or whatever, there still isn't a satisfaction. So we go back to the cabinet, we go back to the refrigerator, we go back through that drive-through line because there's something that we're feeding within ourselves, and lust says, I'm not done yet. No matter how many times you give this to me, I'm not going to be satisfied. And so this is the beginning of us talking about envy.